All right, guys, so welcome back to the next video. This one is on the Battle of Britain. So looking more at it from a closer lens. So we're looking at the first large-scale military battle in history to be fought predominantly in the air. All right, so as I've mentioned, Winston Churchill, the leader at the time, probably one of the most famous leaders in modern history. First served in 1898, however, also fought in the Boer War and on the Western Front in World War One. He was first elected into Parliament in 1900 as a Conservative Party member. He was Lord of the Admiralty, senior naval advisor during World War One and beginning of World War Two. He was the Prime Minister from 1940 to 1945 and was a strong opponent of the appeasement. He believed appeasement was dishonourable. He was keen and brilliant military tactician. So a bit about his background. Hitler had struck east and knocking on the door with Russia. France had surrendered, as had other lowland countries. And the UK was humiliated on the French coast and forced back home. Operation Sea Lion. Okay, so this one was from the Nazis' perspective. So this was Hitler's plan. Nazi Germany, codename for the invasion of the UK. Hitler had hoped Britain would seek a peace agreement and only considered invasion as a last option. Hitler knew that an amphibious invasion would only be possible if Germany could gain control of airspace over the Channel. The criteria for success was that the Royal Navy had to be eliminated, the RAF air strength needed to be weakened, and the destruction of British coastal defences. So in terms of the aircraft that Germany had in comparison to the Royal Air Force of Britain. So they clearly had quite a few more planes apart from the maritime patrol. Okay, so on paper, the German Air Force clearly was at an advantage. They had quite a few different planes, slightly more advanced. As you can see, the British fighters look a little bit older. You can keep seeing. So in terms of the main aircrafts that were used, so they were pretty evenly matched, okay? You're not going to get asked specifically about this, though. All right, so phase one, from the 10th of July to the 12th of August, so about a month. In 1940, Germany bombed the Channel ports and shipping equipment. All right, so the light green country is England, Britain, and you can see a lot of the ports were targeted. Phase two, Germany's second effort was to destroy Britain's airfields, aircraft factories, and radar towers. Britain did have one major advantage in radar early warning technology, the first in the world of its kind, and gave fighter command adequate time to react to German air attacks. These were installed along the coastline of the United Kingdom all the way to northern Scotland. You can see here the chain home radar. So the Fog War, a series of events that resulted in the bombing of major cities. August 24th, 1940, the Luftwaffe bomber mistakenly bombs London residential area. August 25th, the Royal Air Force bombers hit Berlin industrial area. Enraged, Hitler orders major bombing on major English cities, including London. The bombings occur once a night, every night, until September 15th. All right, so about 3 weeks of bombs every single night. The turning point was where British fighters intercept a massive daylight raid on London. 56 German fighters are lost in comparison to 28 RAF fighters. All right. So despite the fact that on paper Germany was at an advantage, they did lose. All right. This forced the Germans to switch to night raids and gave the British a much-needed break. The bombing continues in London and other major cities in daylight attacks until October 5th, 1940. So again, another 3 weeks after that. I do want you to listen to this air raid sirens video. It's pretty full on. But it is super interesting. So over 41,000 civilians are killed and 137,000 are injured. Remember the population at the time, okay? 41,000, it sounds like a lot, but in the climate and the population, it was enormous, all right? You can see the smoke, really, really difficult to see. Views that were usually so available. People were sleeping underground in the subways, their underground train stations, just trying to survive. So the end of the battle, by mid-September 1940, Britain had gained air superiority. They achieved this by shooting down German Air Force quicker than they could replenish. On September 17th, 1940, Hitler postpones Operation Sea Lion until further notice. The factors that affected British victory: the British use of chain home radar, German underestimation of the RAF, German change of objectives after Berlin attack, and as always, there is obviously a number of things that can affect the loss of a battle. All right, the biggest one, I suppose, was Germany's underestimation of the Air Force. They sort of went in just thinking that they were going to win. They didn't think that they were going to come under attack themselves. So they sort of went in being quite cocky, and therefore it was easier for Britain to take them by surprise. All right, so the summary of the Battle of Britain. Total war again. Britain is personally affected by the war, which has a uniting effect. Okay, so really up to this point, Britain had always fought elsewhere. Yeah, the fight was never in their home country. So this actually united the population because it was impacting them themselves. This forced a shift in mindset on war as the country becomes more committed to victory under Churchill. This quote, the whole population committed to total victory. And as you can see there, that is Queen Elizabeth when she was princess as a teenager. All right. What I want you to do, pause the video here, and I want you to start answering these questions. You could just do this in a Google Doc.